as we send our women, our daughters out into the world, right? Especially living in a Western society, how do we ensure, okay, at home we're teaching them adab, right? We're teaching them akhlaq, raising them to have good akhlaq, right? Externally, internally, etc. How do we ensure that they are choosing also the best companions so that they can continue being the best people, inshallah?
That's a fantastic question. And I would say that suhba, righteous companionship is such an important part of this journey. And and we have examples in the Quran and in the Sunnah, the Prophet, peace be upon him. I mean, think about it. The Prophet ﷺ makes hijrah with Sayyidina Abu Bakr, right? So ثاني إذهما في الغار. So he was the second of two when they were in that cave. So for parents, this is why community, and I like to say the idea of prophetic community here is very important, because developmentally, there's a time when our children are very young to where we are, to the exclusion really of everybody else, we are the main role model. We are the hero or the heroine that they look up to, and they aspire to be like us during those very young years developmentally. However, once our children get to a certain age, especially once they start entering into the middle school years and then the high school years, they are increasingly going to begin looking towards other people as role models. And they are going to be seeking out sort of models that they can emulate. Even for people who say, no, I'm not paying attention to that. No, all of us, we're looking at something, someone, an influencer, a trend. There's something out there. So that's why for us as parents, it's very important that we establish from the very beginning good suhbah, that we identify those families, for example, that share certain values, that we are part of a masjid community, that we make sure and see, and this is so important because I've had students who've come to me who've said, I've never had a Muslim friend. So that means that we as parents have to make sure that we are working harder to ensure that our children, sons and daughters alike, but we're talking about daughters right now, obviously, that they have a core group of Muslim peers that they can share that journey with, because it can be a very isolating thing to be a young person of faith in this modern context. There are a lot of messages that are being imposed on our daughters that are very confusing and harmful. And then one final thing, we have to understand, dear parents, dear brothers and dear sisters, that the phone, the technology, these devices, that those are not, they are not a substitute for companionship. And what that means is taking the time to really invest in being part of a community that will support the spiritual development and upbringing of our youth. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all of us to be able to cultivate that type of supportive environment for our youth. And I ask Allah ta'ala to make the iman of our youth beautiful and valuable, so that they prize their faith more than anything else. May Allah ta'ala preserve the iman of our next generation. Ameen ya Rab.